Hey, welcome to A Mindful Life. We are here today with the cosmology of being, and we're still on the outer force videos. We're going to continue with outer forces today. A Mindful Life is a channel, is a vision offering spiritual philosophical technology so that you can live your truth. It's a channel that is about your freedom. It's an offering. This is not dogma. This is not guru stuff. Okay? This is a channel about living the life that you were designed to live. It's easier. It's more fulfilling. It's prosperity when you do what you were made to do. When you're in a system and you're being a certain way for the benefit of others at your expense. It's a false you. It's harder. It's not as fulfilling. Not to say that anything is without its contrast. We love contrast here. Okay, so let's get into outer forces. Let me recap the last video. Outer forces are a bundle of being for you. Outer forces are composed of thought, emotion, and body state. We experience outer forces at the level of the conditioned body. The conditioned body is composed of the physical and the inspired self, the physical self and the inspired self. We experience this as a state of being, these outer forces as states of being. At the core of this state of being is a perspective, all right? So that is sort of in a nutshell what the last video was about. And we ended with some questions, remember? How free are we? If these outer forces come in and they influence us, how free are we really? Are we really free to choose? We think we're choosing, but are we choosing, or are we just acting out like we're a vector or for an outer force, which at its core is a perspective? Because these outer forces already have with them mixed in custom and belief. They're already reasoned out. They're ready to go. They're ready to sit in your driver's seat and be you. And you call them you. You say my mind, my thoughts. You say my emotions. You say my sickness. You say my this. Whatever you claim, you're speaking as that in this perspective here. So let's continue with these questions. Now, to get further into these questions, let's go into this. Idealism and neo-idealism. We talked about this before. Idealism is this. It's an older idea. Being is being perceived, right? So that when I'm seeing this blue chair and how the shape of it is, it's round, it's square, it's so tall, this type of blue. Those are my ideas about the chair. That's all I can know. I can't know the chair within itself. There is a chair within itself. This has platonic overtones, okay, that we won't get into. And with this blue chair, when I turn away from it, is it still a blue chair or not? If being is being perceived, is it still a chair? And in idealism, the answer is yes. It's yes, because there is a God that is in continual perception of all that is. So that the chair, as being blue, as being so tall, is still that. Even when I turn my way and I put my perception, my minds, etc. on other things, it still is what it is, because there is a God that is in perspective, or in perception rather, of the chair. So we see that idealism is really a spiritual philosophy when you really get down into it. Now, what about this idea of neo-idealism? And I just made that word up because it's an idealism that's out here right now. Essentially, it's this. In neo-idealism, God is taken out of the picture. In neo-idealism, you are God. I'm sure many of you have heard that before, that you are God. Now, let's not get philosophical. If you say I am God, then that means you're God. Let's not massage that up. But let's see how weird that really is. let's go back into this idea of neo-idealism. So what this means is that chair doesn't exist when I turn away. It doesn't have existence anymore. It doesn't exist. My body is an illusion. It's just in my mind. You are dependent on me for your existence. I created you. Without me, there'd be no you. You wouldn't exist without me to make you exist by looking at you and talking to you and thinking about you. So when I stop looking at you and talking to you for a week, you don't exist for that whole week. Not just to me, but you don't exist, period, for that whole week. God does not exist without me, because it takes a me to be in experience of God, to perceive God either in some type of way, even if it's a non-physical way, for God to be God. That's neo-idealism. It essentially takes God out of the picture and makes you God. I might, in this view, it could even be said that I'm in my own body, that everything I'm seeing is inside of my body, that I'm just one piece of all that is inside of my body that's aware of my body. In the trees, the sun, everything is in me. I know that sounds crazy, but this is how this goes. And that feeds into this idea that we create our own reality, obviously. Now, if we create our own reality, and we're not going to get philosophical about this, ask your friend who believes this to create the sun. This sun behind me right here is part of my reality. Is it not? However, I did not create that sun. The wind that you may hear, or that's blowing against me, I can feel that. It's part of my reality. I didn't just create wind. In neo-idealism, I'm doing all of this. I'm the creator of the sun. I'm the creator of the wind. It couldn't exist without me. So to prove that we don't create our own reality, ask someone who believes this to create a sun or a moon or create a flower. Just create a flower. I'm part of your reality. So you created me. So I don't exist without you. So we're in your shared reality. So now let's experience you creating a sun and making it a part of our shared reality that you created. So that's not true, people. It's inspirational, but it's not real. But, so that's sort of like the death of this, right? But I've said before that we are little g. So what does that mean? So you're saying, okay, we don't create our own reality, but we're little g, little gods in the image of, as I said before. And that means this: God is being. I'm being, so therefore I'm God. But inclusivity, remember I just said this, and inclusivity doesn't get enough in our experience, because inclusivity is both and. It's both and. We're so used to thinking in exclusive terms like either or, which is good and valid many times. But can she be an artist and a doctor at the same time? Why not? You can't conceive of them. They seem mutually exclusive to you. They seem like they can't go together for you. But why can't they exist in a way that's inclusive to one another? So going back to this, I am God because God is being and I'm being. I have my being in God. God is the very fabric of what I am. So in that sense of being inclusive, I am God. However, to shatter mysticism of some sort, God is separate from me. God is not, if God was not separate at all from me, I would be God. But God is obviously separate from me because I can see God's creation. So God is separate from me, and I have my being in God. God is the very fabric of who I am. So in this sense, I'm little g. In this sense, I'm little g. So let's ask this question now. You see this? I did that on my free will. I have some free will, don't I? I came here and I made this video. Don't we have some sort of creative ability over our lives? And what is that if outer forces are influencing who we are? And who we are is a combination of what we've been doing and how we've been thinking and living and feeling creates that outer exterior of who we are. So we have some sort of creative ability. So that's the question we're going to answer in the next video. And I really feel like we're going to end up these videos on outer forces in the next video. Because now the question still remains, it's just a more refined question, right? So, okay, we know we don't do this. We know we don't create our own reality. We know that God is the fabric of who we are. We know idealism and NeoIdealism and all of these things. So what do we do? What can we do? Are we just at the mercy of outer forces still? Are we a vector for outer forces? We're just robots. The outer forces come in, sit in the driver's seat, and we call them us. What freedom do we have here? Remember, I said at the core of outer forces is a perspective. A perspective is reason. It has custom belief in it already. It's ready to go for you. You just put it right in and you're ready. Okay, so that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video and realize this along the way. Okay, I'm Mindful Life. Peace out.